Hello and welcome to the pre-recorded May 18th, 2025 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're putting some money into this project of ours. We're usually live every Sunday, and we thank you all so much for checking out this episode on our YouTube page. That's right, we are streaming on YouTube normally, and all of our new videos are going up on YouTube. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from places like goodgoodgood.co and goodnewsnetwork.org, but we appreciate everything that is sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. So, why is this a pre-recorded episode? Well, at this time, I am out of town. And I am out of town in such a way that it is not feasible for me to have brought all of my equipment along to do the broadcast properly. So, we decided to get ahead of the game, make sure we're sticking with our a new episode every week, and we decided to pre-record an episode for your viewing pleasure. So here it is, our pre-recorded episode. Let's get into our news brew. Producer Donna, when she visited me a couple of weeks ago, was kind enough to give me a care package of Ontario beer. This is another one, and it is No Way. And I love the art for this. No Way from Full Beard Brewing Company. This is a 7% ABV Porter that's brewed with dark cherries and chocolate. I'm really looking forward to this. I couldn't find a whole lot about this brewery, but they have a bunch of fascinating beers, so this is going to be a whimsical experience for all of us. Because it's a porter, I have a pint glass, specifically my Michigan, the Great Beer State pint glass, because we are good friends of Canada. So, we don't need the Balisong bottle opener, so we'll just crack this can open and blow the gain on the audio. And we will get into the theatrics of however long it takes me to pour this porter. We do straight pours here because we want all that gas out of there. I don't want that in me. And this one has a lot to spare. But beautiful reddish brown color out of it. It's hard to see. I can use the ring light to actually get a good look at the color. It's a beautiful reddish, like a dark cherry red and brown. And it smells interesting. So we'll let that settle a little bit and we'll get into our shout outs. And our first shout out is going to be to Family Craft Farm, which is a cutflower, microgreen, and produce farm that's located in Ravenna, Michigan. On the farm, they're all about cultivating a sustainable lifestyle and that they're proud to share with their growing family and the community. They believe in providing high-quality, clean, unique products designed for sustainability and quality, and only partner with companies who put the earth and people's health first for their products, which is fantastic. So, to Family Craft Farm, a great service out of Ravenna, Michigan, cheers. That's taking a little while. I'm going to cheers right out of the can. Ooh. Oh. That is like the everlasting gobstopper. Like, that was the chewing gum? Was it the chewing gum that was an entire meal in Willy Wonka? Because holy crap, it starts off dark chocolate and then it becomes dark cherry. Wild. Next shout out. Happy Victoria Day to all of our Canadian newsies, and happy 3rd birthday to Nick's Newsies' furry friends, Bruce and Lily. All of these events are occurring on May 19th, the day after this episode will go live on the YouTube page. So, to all of our Canadian Nick's Newsies, and to Bruce and Lily, furry friends of Nick's News, cheers. Whew. You know, I love high-gravity beer, but it doesn't have to be high gravity for me to enjoy it. And this is definitely an enjoyable beer. News quote. Learn from yesterday. Live for today. Hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to not stop questioning. That comes from Albert Einstein, a German-born theoretical physicist best known for wild wigs at Halloween time, but also for developing the theory of relativity. And I really love that quote. It's a good one for our current times. Learn from yesterday. Live for today and hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to not stop questioning. To Albert Einstein, cheers. I can hear one of the bugs crawling around back there. I guess we'll see who appears. But for our bug news, Elmira is going to get her beauty rest and show up whenever she wants. She's like some sort of arthropod wizard. She's never late. She always means to be on time when she gets here, so we'll keep an eye out for her. Sue, on the other hand, is taking a page out of Elmira's book. Or maybe he's just mad that I put a rock on top of his tank. After our last episode's escape attempt, I have started putting a salt lamp rock on top of his terrarium. Now, it's off camera based on the angle of the camera, but believe me, there's like a half-pound salt rock sitting on top of that tank lid, so he can't get out. So I think maybe he started building a deeper body pit for me to get rid of me in. Because he's been doing some massive excavation, and if you check out our Instagram, you can see photos of his excavation work. More to come as he continues to burrow. Which is crazy because I was not aware that that species burrowed as much as he is, but I think we had a day where it got pretty hot in here because I didn't have the AC turned on, and I think in response he realized he needed to get cooler, so he's digging deeper, which is a natural response for their species. As I learned. Ripley despises all things that aren't Ripley. They seek to make all things Ripley until all are one. Yes, it's a Phyrexia joke. And Mantis McCloud is still lording over his home. He's the eternal. He is the perpetual. He is the winner of the great game, and we are so glad to host him. So to all the bugs, that they're still with us and they're all kicking and doing well. Cheers. All right. Top my beer off and let's get into our broadcast. We have 7 amazing articles tonight spread out across our major categories. Our good news broadcast is spread out across 4 categories: science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice articles that we like to end on. And I will clean up that transition as episodes continue throughout the year. So let's start off in category 1, science and technology. This one was sent in by Cassidy, so Cassidy, thank you so much for sending in this article. And we called it, This Woodchuck Chucks. All episode links are in the description of this episode, so if you want to read through them on your own or check out any other links that are within those articles, by all means, feel free. First of its kind wood processing facility opens in Grand Rapids. This was posted to MLive, or Michigan News, and it was posted on May 8th of 2025 by Melissa Frick. How much wood can a woodchuck biomass processing facility chuck? A new startup company is answering that question with a first-of-its-kind processing facility in Grand Rapids, which is where I live, that can turn 100 tons of wood into 83 million BTUs of clean energy. Woodchuck officials unveiled the company's new flagship biomass processing facility and innovation center at 2151 Butterworth Drive Southwest on Thursday, May 8th. Standing alongside Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and city officials, Woodchuck CEO Todd Thomas celebrated the facility as a first-of-its-kind hub for sustainable energy innovation and the only one in the world. The $2 million facility uses an all-electric industrial wood grinder to turn scrap wood into high-quality biomass, or organic material that can be turned into clean, renewable energy. Discarded wood is collected from construction sites and demolition zones, processed on site, and put to good use. Before woodchuck, this would all go to the landfill, Thomas said, pointing to a huge mound of scrap wood at the site on Thursday of that week. This is now a pile of future energy. Woodchuck's Grand Rapids facility has the capacity to produce 500 tons of biomass per day, the company said in a news release. At full capacity, the facility will divert tens of thousands of tons of wood waste from landfills each year, converting it into renewable biomass to power local industries, support utility decarbonization, and reduce methane emissions from decomposing wood, the company said. The facility uses an artificial intelligence or machine learning to sort, identify, and process usable materials, increasing efficiency. Thomas said woodchuck officials considered several sites across Michigan and Indiana, but ultimately chose Grand Rapids for the flagship facility because of the amount of wood waste generated in the area through furniture manufacturers and construction companies that use things like pallets and crates for shipping. The city of Grand Rapids also provided 6 acres of land near the city's yard waste drop-off site on Butterworth for this facility, which Commissioner Melinda Yasasi says is a win-win for the city. Residents in Grand Rapids are overwhelmingly concerned and clear that they want us to work to find solutions for clean energy moving forward. She said, Woodchuck is going to help our city to do that with a model for clean energy innovation and also the realities about emergency response preparation. Whitmer said Woodchuck's processing capabilities proved to be critical for emergency response and environmental recovery in the wake of the ice storms that caused catastrophic damage across northern Michigan this spring. After the ice storms, Woodchuck partnered with several counties to rapidly process fallen trees and wood debris, turning what would have been landfill waste or burn piles into clean biomass energy and helping communities recover faster. Woodchuck's new facility in Grand Rapids will create good-paying, high-skill jobs and build on Michigan's leadership in AI, or machine learning, advanced manufacturing, and clean energy, Whitmer said. By turning waste into a productive resource, Woodchuck is helping us protect our precious natural resources and build a more cutting-edge, sustainable economy. Let's keep working together to secure more projects just like Woodchuck in Michigan so we can lead the future and grow our economy. To Woodchuck, the first clean-burning biomass facility in the world that is going to be producing a ton of power soon out of biomass. Cheers. All right, this next one we called It's Pronounced Nuclear. And if you're a Simpsons fan, you will get that reference. Canada's modular nuclear reactor to light up 1.2 million homes, first in G7 countries. Speaking of clean energy, here we go with another good clean energy article. Nuclear power. This was posted to Interesting Engineering on May 9th of 2025 by Aman Tripathi. The Ontario government in Canada has given the green light for Ontario Power Generation, or OPG, to commence construction on the first small modular reactor, or SMR, in the G7 at its Darlington nuclear site. This pioneering BWRX-300 reactor is projected to generate 300 megawatts of clean, reliable electricity, enough to power the equivalent of 300,000 homes. However, with 4 such SMRs slated for the Darlington site, the total output will reach a substantial 1,200 megawatts, capable of supplying power to approximately 1.2 million homes across the province. That is awesome. The timeline is to finish construction of the first reactor by the end of 2029 and connect it to the grid in 2030. So it is a future planning situation, but They are working on it, and this is going to be one of the first small modular reactors in a G7 country, which is awesome. BW RX300 SMR represents a cutting-edge technology designed to deliver reliable and carbon-free power with enhanced safety and efficiency, said GE Vernova in a press release. The deployment of these SMRs is seen as a vital step in securing the province's long-term energy supply. The announcement has garnered international attention, with countries like the United States, United Kingdom, Poland, and Sweden closely observing Ontario's progress. The BW RX300, built on a standardized design and proven delivery model, is being touted as a tangible solution for nations seeking to bolster their energy security, reduce carbon emissions, and meet escalating energy needs. I actually believe that the Palisades plant that a company is trying to restart here in Michigan is hoping to take advantage of this technology and use small modular reactors as well. So this would be interesting if Ontario gets this up and running, and we can install it at Palisades down the road. Where did I leave off? There it is. This historic achievement in small modular reactor technology is more than a milestone. It's a clear signal that we are ready to meet the moment, said Scott Strazik, who is the CEO of GE Vernova. As we build toward a more holistic energy future, this achievement with the BW RX300 shows how innovation in nuclear can deliver reliable, baseload, zero-carbon power generation, he said. The 4 SMRs at Darlington are projected to collectively produce 1,200 megawatts of electricity and play a critical role, not that kind of critical role, in bridging a potential power gap expected in the early 2030s if new baseload power sources are not integrated into the grid. Once complete, the Darlington new nuclear project's 4 SMRs will produce 1,200 megawatts of electricity, enough to power 1.2 million homes, remarked the Ontario government in a press release. They are going to beat these numbers into your head. These reactors utilize commercially available uranium to generate power efficiently. The standardized design and modular approach of the BW RX300 enable economies of scale, making it easier and more cost-effective to replicate the construction process at other sites, added Craig Ranson, president and CEO of GE Vernova Hitachi Nuclear Energy. OPG's commitment to building the first BW RX300 positions them as a leader in the field, with their experiences serving as a crucial benchmark for other utilities contemplating SMR projects. The successful deployment at Darlington is expected to demonstrate the feasibility and numerous benefits of SMR technology and pave the way for a broader adoption and investment globally. The experience and efficiencies gained from deploying the first BW RX300 at Darlington alongside OPG and our other partners will pave the way for subsequent SMR projects by establishing a proven model for construction and operation, highlighted Ranson. As we confront the challenges of increased demand, energy security, and carbon intensity, this milestone reaffirms our commitment to innovation and a more sustainable energy future, concluded Strazik. That is fantastic. To OPG and the Darlington nuclear site for looking to install BW RX300 small modular reactors to power eventually 1.2 million homes. Cheers. All right, that gets us out of science and technology. We move on to health and medicine. First article in here we called "Not Available Through Hair Men." Not available through Hair Club for Men. Easy to wear 3D printable hair-like electrode allows for long-term brain monitoring. This was also posted in Interesting Engineering, and it was updated on May 10th of 2025 by Bojan Stojkovski. Electroencephalograms, or, as we know from Grey's Anatomy and other health shows, EEGs, play a crucial role in diagnosing and managing conditions such as epilepsy, sleep disorders, and brain injuries. Traditional systems, however, rely on stiff metal electrodes and conductive gels, which can be messy, uncomfortable to wear, and often deliver inconsistent signal quality. To overcome the discomfort and limitations of traditional EEG setups, researchers at the Pennsylvania State University, or Penn State, have developed a hair-like device for long-term, non-invasive brain monitoring. Lightweight and flexible, the electrode attaches directly to the scalp and delivers stable, high-quality recordings of brain signals without causing irritation. The researchers behind the breakthrough minuscule electrode, shown to maintain stable performance during more than 24 hours of continuous wear, detailed their findings in a study published in the journal NPJ Biomedical Innovations. They note that the technology could be used not only in clinical healthcare settings, but also in consumer health and wellness products. According to Tao Zhu, Wormley Family Early Care Professor and Engineering, Science and Mechanics and senior author of the paper, the new electrode enables more consistent and reliable monitoring of EEG signals while remaining virtually unnoticed during wear, which enhances both the functionality and comfort for patients. On the other hand, the conventional EEG monitoring process can be both cumbersome and messy. Its many limitations make it difficult to implement for continuous long-term monitoring. For accurate brain activity recordings, electrodes must conform to the scalp, but gaps due to the hair or skin prevent clear signals. To ensure proper contact, gels are applied, though they can irritate the skin. Furthermore, conventional EEG electrodes are rigid and can shift with even slight head movement, affecting data consistency. To address this specific challenge, Zhu and his research team created a small, hair-like device made from 3D printed hydrogel. We have discussed 3D printed hydrogel on previous episodes. The electrode, a small dot, captures brain signals from the scalp, while a thin wire-like component connects it to the monitoring system. The device uses a 3D printable bioadhesive ink that allows the electrode to adhere directly to the scalp, eliminating the need for the messy gels or skin preparation even. This reduces the gap between the electrode and the scalp, which enhances the signal quality. Its lightweight, flexible, and stretchable design ensures it stays in place, even during activities like combing your hair or wearing a baseball cap, making it ideal for extended use and chronic monitoring. The team found that the new hair-like electrode performed on par with standard gold electrodes, but offered better skin contact and maintained signal quality for over 24 hours of continuous wear. Unlike traditional EEG systems, the electrode doesn't need to be replaced, ensuring consistent data across multiple monitoring sessions. That is cool to everybody at Penn State for coming up with a small printable hair-like brain electrode that's a lot easier to manipulate and utilize than current EEGs. Cheers! All right, we call this next one autoimmune disease. Meet reverse Uno card. Inverse vaccines, the promise of a holy grail treatment for autoimmune diseases. This was posted to The Guardian on May 12th of 2025 by David Cohn. Autoimmune diseases affect as many as 800 million people around the world, about 1 in 10 of humanity. From multiple sclerosis and lupus to type 1 diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis, these conditions all share a common trait. The body's own immune system turns against itself. Current treatments aim to suppress that response, but dialing down the entire immune system comes at a steep cost. It leaves patients vulnerable to other illnesses and often requires daily invasive care. A revolution is now afoot as researchers are developing a new approach that targets only the specific parts of the immune system that have gone rogue. These treatments are known as inverse vaccines because they suppress a particular part of the immune system rather than amplifying it as existing vaccines do. This is the holy grail, says Northwestern University immunologist Stephen Miller. We want to use a scalpel rather than a sledgehammer to treat these diseases. Miller's 2021 paper, published in 2022 in Gastroenterology, was the first to demonstrate that inverse vaccines can be effective in humans. The study looked at celiac disease, in which the immune system attacks the intestinal lining when it detects the presence of gluten, a protein found in wheat and other grains and damn near all our food. Over 2 weeks, 33 celiac patients who were in remission ingested gluten. About half had received the inverse vaccine beforehand, while the other half got a placebo. After 2 weeks, researchers examined the subject's intestinal lining and found that the inverse vaccine group had no damage, while the placebo group showed a noticeable worsening of symptoms. If that's not a slam dunk, I don't know what is. The basic idea of inverse vaccines rests on using certain synthetic nanoparticles attached to particular disease-related proteins, called antigens, as targeted messengers to retrain the immune system. The nanoparticles mimic dying human cells, a normal ongoing process. Although these dying cells are foreign, the immune system knows not to attack them. The immune system learns to ignore both the nanoparticles and the attached proteins, and stops attacking the body. What this does is it re-educates the immune system, says NYU bioengineer Jeffrey Hubble. So then it says, okay, I'm good. I don't need to attack this because I see that it's not a threat. In 2023, Hubble and his colleagues published a peer-reviewed paper in Nature showing that this method could halt the mouse version of multiple sclerosis, or MS, a disease in which the immune system attacks nerve cells in the brain and the body. Over the past 8 months, Anakion, the company started by Hubble and others to commercialize their work, has announced successful early trials in humans in both celiac disease and MS, and that is awesome. There have been more than a few tears of happiness shed by me and my team when we've seen the clinical results, Hubble says. The discovery that certain negatively charged molecules could retrain the immune system to stop attacking our own tissue was absolute serendipity, says the University of Calgary immunologist Pere Santamaria. He was among the first scientists to uncover this. I would never have guessed it, he says, not even in my wildest dreams. Santamaria has spent most of his career focusing on type 1 diabetes, a disease in which the immune system attacks the pancreas cells that produce insulin. Recently, though, he has begun exploring inverse vaccines for other autoimmune disorders, including a disease called primary biliary cholangitis, or PBC, that affects the bile ducts of the liver. One advantage of working on PBC is that because it is rare, clinical trials don't require nearly as many patients. As a result, the drug approval process can move more quickly. And once we get approval for one indication, we may be able to go faster with others, Santamaria says. One of the key advantages of inverse vaccines is their broad versatility. It appears that the approach can work for a wide range of autoimmune diseases. It works all the time in animals, says Santamaria. We've tried this in many different animal models of autoimmune disease. Of course, success in animal studies doesn't automatically translate to success in humans. Something to keep in mind, but this is very promising. Last year, Donna, the director of Institut Imagine in Paris, co-wrote a review of inverse vaccine efforts. She is cautiously optimistic about their potential, but also notes that the immune system is immensely complex. Some immune cells, for example, circulate throughout the body, while others reside permanently in specific tissues. Jabri says it's not yet clear that current inverse immune treatments can affect both kinds of cells. Another potential advantage, however, most researchers say that the effect will probably last for months or perhaps longer, similar to the pattern seen for many non-inverse vaccines. The immune system is incredible, Hubble says. It has a memory, and that memory lasts. Currently, most treatments for autoimmune disease require more frequent treatment, often a regimen of daily medicine. In addition, inverse vaccines seem to have benefits beyond autoimmunity. They may work for allergies, which I am suffering from right now, which also involve an overreaction by the immune system, in this case to a food or environmental trigger rather than one's own body. In 2022, Miller and his colleague, the University of Michigan biomedical engineer Lonnie Shea, published a small study with mice with peanut allergies. Can you imagine being a mouse with a peanut allergy? That'd be terrible. The animals who received an inverse vaccine were able to consume significantly more peanuts without symptoms than those who did not get the vaccine. Last month, Hubble and several colleagues published a paper in Science Translational Medicine showing that the inverse vaccine could protect allergic mice from house dust mite antigens, a frequent cause of asthma, as well as antigens to chicken egg whites, a common experimental model for allergy. These protections held up through repeated exposures to the allergens over several months. That's awesome. And last year, Shea, the University of Michigan biomedical engineer, published a paper looking at alpha-gal syndrome, a potentially severe allergy to meat that's caused by tick bites. That's right, if you get bit by certain ticks, you may become allergic to steak. It sucks. Infected mice who were given an inverse vaccine showed significantly fewer symptoms than those who were given a placebo. We were able to basically convince the immune system that these proteins are not dangerous, Shea says. At this point, it is difficult to say how long it will be before inverse vaccines are approved for human use. Miller, Shea, Hubble, Santa Maria, and other researchers are involved in startup biotech companies working to develop them. Some larger pharmaceutical companies are also bullish on the approach and are partnering with startups. In December, Genentech announced a partnership with Core, the company started by Miller and Shea, that could be worth up to $900 million. Last year, Parvus, the startup founded by Santa Maria, entered into a collaboration with the pharmaceutical company AbbVie. Several inverse vaccines are now in the midst or about to start phase 2 trials, small studies looking at how effective the treatment is in humans. Anytime we talk about phase 2 here on Nick's News, that is good news. We are getting into the medicine of affecting humans, and we are seeing if these new ideas are going to pan out and help us. Some scientists estimate that the first inverse vaccines could be available for use in 3 to 5 years. Others are less certain. I think it will take 10 years to have it nailed down, Jabbery says, but it could be shorter, or it could be longer. Even so, nearly all are optimistic. 20 years ago, I would have told you this wasn't possible. Absolutely not, says Miller. Today, I can say that it will happen. No doubt. That is awesome. To everybody involved with the production of inverse vaccines, scalpels as opposed to sledgehammers to deal with autoimmune diseases, cheers. All right, that's going to get us out of health and medicine. We're going to move on to flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. First article in this, we said, "Do you want The Last of Us?" We've used this title before. We're going to keep using it. An environmental toxicologist is using mushrooms to heal the planet and put The Last of Us fears to bed. This was posted to goodgoodgood.co on May 12th of 2025 by Megan Cook. In HBO's dystopian drama The Last of Us, a star-studded cast led by Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey navigate a future marred by a fungal pandemic. In the series, which is based on the award-winning video game of the same name, most human beings have been mutated beyond recognition by a strain of cordyceps that warps them into zombies. When it first premiered in January of 2023, the global hit became HBO's most watched debut season to date. The second season, which premiered in April of this year, beat that record viewership by 10%. It's safe to say that the success of The Last of Us has given mushrooms, and the scientists who work with them, a little bit of a bad name. Since the show premiered, environmental toxicologist Danielle Stevenson said she's grilled constantly about her work with mycoremediation, a technique that uses fungi to rehabilitate polluted soil by collecting and breaking down contaminants through natural processes. A common question in the public space is, but if you use fungi to eat pollution, will they eat our house and our buildings and our faces and our whole world? Stevenson told the Smithsonian Magazine. They will not, she said firmly. They are a nature-based approach to handling our waste. Mycologist Paul Stamets first coined the term mycoremediation, in 2005 in his book Mycelium Rising: How Mushrooms Can Help Save the World. I might want to get my hands on that book. But scientists have been studying the benefits of mushroom cultivation for over 6 decades. In 1963, plant disease expert Horst Lehr used enzymes in wood decay fungi to break down harmful man-made chemicals called chlorophenols. Since then, mycologists like Stevenson have been following in his footsteps to harness the power of fungi to improve land destroyed by wildfires, contaminated by hazardous substances, and riddled with water pollution. One of Stevenson's biggest wins traces back to her college years at the University of California, when she reseeded 3 brownfields in Los Angeles with combinations of plants and fungi. Within 3 months, her team saw a 50% reduction in diesel, gasoline, and solvents that were in the soil and in the area. A year later, the contaminants were virtually untraceable. Since 2023, University of Connecticut's soil microbial ecologist Mia Maltz has been exploring how fungi and other microbes can help improve degraded ecosystems. And she says the mycology world regards Stevenson's research as groundbreaking. Having field trials like Stevenson's helps to build the knowledge base of which plants are able to accumulate metals in which conditions promote their uptake, said Maltz. Times columnist reporter and urban food advocate Bill Metcalf echoed Maltz's praise for Stevenson's work with a call to action: to grow food in the city, heal the soil first. Until now, there have been no organized local response to the huge obstacle of heavy metal contaminants in our urban soil, Metcalf wrote. Kudos to Daniel Stevenson for organizing a neighborhood approach to soil testing. Mushrooms specific to the contaminant can remove toxins much more effectively than plants can, but making it happen is much trickier. For Stevenson, she thinks we've barely skimmed the surface when it comes to using mushrooms to improve the world around us. We can transform contaminated sites into parks, green spaces, and affordable housing, she said. There's just so much potential for this type of approach to work on a lot of different problems at the same time. And I know we harp and we use The Last of Us references quite a bit for some of our titles when we talk about fungi here, but honestly, this is good news. Utilizing fungi to clean contaminants that otherwise are extremely difficult to clean to everybody involved in this study, and spreading this knowledge and this use of mycoremediation. Cheers. Following up on that, though, we titled this next article, "Because This Is How You Get The Last of Us." Packet of fungi inside new diapers breaks them down in landfill, turning into mycelium. This was posted to goodnewsnetwork.org. It was written on May 14th of 2025 by Andy Corbley. Recent discoveries in microbial digestion of plastic have finally left the lab and entered the real world in the form of Hyro diapers, the world's first diaper manufactured to be eaten by fungi. Every year, over 18 billion, with a B, diapers are discarded into just U.S. landfills. And if they aren't manufactured into natural cellulose, then they're going to be there for 500 years, leaking microplastics and chemicals into the soil. With that unfortunate truth out of the way, dig this dirty great news. A pair of serial entrepreneurs have developed diapers designed to be broken down into soil by fungi, and they're practically flying off the shelves. Each Hyro mycodigestible diaper comes with a small packet of shelf-stable, plastic-eating fungi. Parents simply throw the packet away with the used diaper. No extra steps required. Once the diaper reaches a landfill, the fungi activate in the presence of moisture and begin to break down the diaper's materials from the inside out. These fungi secrete enzymes that target and sever the carbon bonds in plastic, transforming the waste into mycelium and nutrient-rich soil over time. The response has been nothing short of electric. People are hungry for real solutions, and this one hits home, both literally and globally, says Taro Isokapia, co-founder of Hyro Technologies and pioneer in the now $2.7 billion global mushroom coffee industry. I have actually been meaning to try mushroom coffee. I drink a lot of coffee. If we can break down a diaper, we can break down anything. Gosh, that's reminiscent of if you can catch a wrench, you can or if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. If we can break down a diaper, we can break down anything. Once we've gained enough market share, we can partner with other brands and bring this technology to the world. He said. Unlike traditional end-of-life methods that require high-energy inputs or create harmful emissions, Hyro's fungi-powered solution is scalable, sustainable, and truly circular. While plastic-eating fungi were first discovered by scientists over a decade ago, their potential has remained locked in labs until now. Hyro has pioneered a commercial self-stable fungi technology that targets plastic at a... I apologize for the pause during the broadcast or during the recording of this episode. I just saw tornado warnings go up. This could be an interesting night. Breaking it down into soil and mycelium, the root system of fungi. It's literally in mushrooms' DNA to break down complex carbon materials, explains Isokapia, saying that when they first evolved on Earth, they broke down rocks long before even bothering a tree. They already break down lignin, which has a similar carbon backbone to plastics. We've simply retrained them to do what they are already kind of knew what to do. At the moment, the diapers are available on a subscription basis that includes a week's supply, plus wet wipes and the fungal spore packets for just $35 per week. I'm not sure what the price of diapers is, but that is really cool. Using little fungi packets to break them down in landfills so they're not going to last for 500 years. To everyone involved at this startup at Hyro, cheers. All right, that's it for Flora and Fauna, aka Plants and Animals. We are going to move on to Category 4, the Wholesome Notes. We've got one article, our last article of the night here, and we called this one, It Takes a Village, So We're Building One. Rent and teacher shortages are on the rise, so this school district is building a tiny home village. This was posted to goodgoodgood.co on May 13th of 2025 by Cameron Baker. When leadership at Harrison School District 2 in Colorado Springs, Colorado toured a tiny home village for young people in poverty created by local nonprofit We Fortify, they left feeling inspired. About a week after the tour, they called and asked if we would build 2 villages for them on school property. We Fortify founder and CEO Shelly Jensen told Good Good Good. We Fortify offers 2 kinds of social housing structures. Elevate Villages, which offer affordable housing and life skills, therapy, and job training programming for young people ages 18 to 25, and Noble Villages, which offer dignified and affordable housing for service professionals like teachers, nurses, firefighters, and more. So, earlier this month, Harrison School District 2 and We Fortify announced the building of 2 tiny home communities on the Mountain Vista Community School campus. The first is Wendy's Village, a community of 40 units specifically reserved for educators. Rent is $800 a month, homes are 352 square feet in size, and the whole neighborhood will sit on the school's soccer field, which takes up just less than an acre. Each home is powered by electric energy and includes a full kitchen and bathroom, a living room, and a bedroom. A central community center will also include a galley kitchen, event space, and raised garden beds. The other development is Prospect Village and will be reserved for young adults age 18 to 25. Rent here is $600 a month and is a smaller community of 18 units placed on the school's basketball courts. The idea behind Prospect Village is to serve as a long-term transitional housing option, offering educational programming and job opportunities to young people emerging from poverty. With every development we build, we learn and get better. We add to our tool belt of best practices, Jensen said. If we can do that and help house the employees who provide our infrastructure services, it's a win-win. While We Fortify has specialized in youth housing before, the teacher housing community is a new development to explore. It's the first of its kind in Colorado Springs, and I believe the first cottage court design in Colorado, Jensen said. We believe in smaller developments that really lean into the neighborhoods they are in, using homes that complement the current development. Other similar initiatives have been in the works in other parts of the country. In Charlotte, North Carolina, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools offers apartments at below market rent, homeownership opportunities for teachers, and plans to build its own housing development. With stagnant wages, rising housing costs, and a decline in educators nationwide, this kind of offering aims to keep teachers where they actually want to be. There is absolutely a systemic crisis, so let's get going, Jensen said. Teacher housing is one solution to a very big problem that we cannot control nor wish to. That is not in our lane. What is in our lane is our ability to provide beautiful, dignified housing in a human-focused way that allows the teachers to teach and live in a state that they want to live in. On top of this, she added, it allows the school district to recruit and retain highly qualified teachers to this state so that they can provide the quality of education they desire to their constituents. According to Jensen, 75% of teachers surveyed in Harrison District 2 said they wanted to stay in the district and wanted to live in this village. Dr. Wendy Berhansel, the superintendent of the district, said the idea is a bold vision that will be turned into reality with the help of the school's partnership with We Fortify and other donors. This project reflects our shared commitment to supporting educators and strengthening the future of our schools and neighborhoods, Dr. Berhansel said in a statement reported by KKTV 11 News. Right now, the district is working with We Fortify to collect funding for both complexes. Wendy's Village will be entirely funded through private, public, corporate, and foundation donations, including a recent donation from ENT Credit Union. Jensen told Good that nearly $1 million has been raised thus far, though another $5 million is needed to fully realize the project. A model home will also soon be prepped for visitors. We have an NGU, never give up attitude, Jensen said. They can expect that we will get these communities built. Once they are completed, Jensen added, she hopes Wendy's Village can serve as a blueprint for other communities looking to build teacher housing. There isn't a lot of evidence out there right now with regard to teacher housing. It would be great if Wendy's Village could be a case study, Jensen said. I know and understand that's how Dr. Berhansel, the superintendent, intends to use it. I believe in her and her vision. That is awesome. To Harrison School District 2 in Colorado Springs and to We Fortify, constructing tiny home villages for staff, faculty, and students and young individuals looking to get out of poverty and improve themselves. Cheers. And the thunder just started. Thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Knicks News YouTube page. The link for it will pop up on the Facebook page, as soon as it's gone live. Again, we're usually live every Sunday, and our next live episode will be on May 25th of 2025. I encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, you can message us and post suggestions for news brews, shoutouts, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes. If you send us a bunch of articles, please try to spread them out across our 4 major categories, and those categories again were science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice articles we like to end on. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description or on our websites. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our content so we can get the algorithm for Facebook and YouTube to get good news out there and get the hope and good news into the algorithm. I can't tell you what to do. I never will, but I cannot thank you all enough from the bottom of my heart. Everything you do, every like, subscribe, comment, and share gets our Hope Core stuff out into the world and continues to grow Nick's News, and I am eternally thankful. So, as always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night, and I will play us out.